Stop guilt-tripping your wife about sex. It's not going to bring her closer. It's just going to backfire. Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com, where I help good men stop reacting from pain and start leading their marriages with peace, strength, and emotional clarity. Okay, show of hands, because I've done it myself. Have you ever said this to your wife? Why don't you want me? Do you desire me at all? You never initiate anymore. It's been weeks or months or years. Don't you care? I guess I'm just not attractive to you. Yeah, you'd have sex with me if you really loved me. Any of those sound familiar? Yeah, me too. The tough truth is that guilting your wife about sex will not make her want you more. It will make her want you less, because sexual guilt kills connection. And guilt tripping is rooted in insecurity, and you're triggered, and that brings on emotional reactivity, and none of that makes your wife want to have sex with you. No woman becomes more sexually open because she feels emotionally cornered. You might think you're just being honest. You're expressing yourself and your pain. You might even think, hey, at least I'm saying something about it instead of just walking around sulking and quiet. But none of those are healthy, because what she feels is pressure and shame, emotional weight, unsafe energy, and that doesn't create intimacy. It just creates resistance and tension and shutdown and anger. Because now it's not about connection, it's about obligation. And no one, man or woman, wants to feel obligated into intimacy. So you have to just stop and notice where guilt is masking a deeper wound that's bringing all this out. Really ask yourself, why do I say these guilt-driven things? Do I think that it's going to work? What do I really want when I say you never want me? Because in all honesty, if we ask ourselves the real truth, are we really trying to connect or are we trying to control? We're not trying to be manipulative, but we're in pain and we're hurting and we don't know what to do with that pain. And then we find ourselves weaponizing words like you always, or you never, or if you really cared, or if you really loved me, or other couples don't have this problem. What they're really saying is, I feel rejected, I feel invisible, I feel unwanted, and I don't know what to do with that. That's what you're really saying. And you're human. You're not bad for feeling that pain. Those are legitimate feelings, but you are responsible for how you express it. And if you keep expressing it through guilt, you'll keep reinforcing the very dynamic you're desperate to escape. And when you get curious and just notice this, then you can choose to stop using shame as a strategy. And you make a conscious decision that you will no longer use her guilt or shame to try to get my needs met. Because guilt might get you compliance, but it will never get you connection. And she might say yes out of pressure. She might give in once or twice, but she won't feel safe. She won't feel desired. She won't feel emotionally free. If you do have sex, it won't be connected. And eventually she won't feel anything at all if you keep doing this. That's not intimacy. It's emotional damage. She has lost emotional trust in you. She doesn't feel emotionally safe. The reality is you're not here to guilt your way into sex. You're here to become the kind of man she feels safe and open with again. And all that begins with dropping the guilt game. For good. Because it's not really about sex, it's about identity. It's that part of you inside that feels unlovable without sex. That's a barometer, that's a measure. Because the truth is, when she pulls away physically, that triggers you. And what it triggers is this false core belief that you've had for a long time, that you're not desirable. The fear that you're being rejected again, just like you did when you were a child. It triggers that story that you tell yourself that you're not enough unless someone wants you. And these aren't adult thoughts. Yeah, you're thinking them as a grown man, but these are wounds from a little boy who never felt chosen or wanted and learned to equate love with performance or physical attention. And you brought all of that with you into adulthood, and it's been running your marriage. You've been operating from this terrified little boy. So when your wife is distant, that old fear is screaming back at you, she doesn't want me. I must not be desirable. I must not be attractive enough. I must not matter. And then you start reacting with guilt and blame, and you shut down and you withdraw, become needy and clingy. But sex is really not what you need, because what that little boy needs has nothing to do with your wife's body. He needs your presence. You need to say to him, little guy, I love you. You are lovable. Even when she's not affectionate, you're still lovable. I see you. I've got you. You're not being rejected. You're not alone. Because this helps loosen that grip of sexual guilt. And it helps you understand how emotional safety fuels desire. Because the disconnect here is that you think if she'd just have more sex with me, everything would be okay. But she's thinking if I felt safe or seen or emotionally close, maybe I'd want sex again. So do you see the gap between the two? Do you see what she needs and what she's telling herself? And where you and this wounded little boy are approaching the marriage. You're chasing sex to feel close. She's needing closeness to feel safe enough for sex. And the guilt destroys both of those. The more you guilt her, the more her body says, this is not safe, this isn't about connection, this is about control. Shut down. Her walls go up, your frustration grows, resentment. The cycle just repeats itself over and over, and it can for years. And if you want to rebuild physical intimacy, you have to stop trying to fix it through the bedroom, and you have to start leading with safety and presence and strength outside of the bedroom. Because that's what she needs. She needs your leadership. You lead from peace and not pressure. You don't beg. You don't guilt. You don't shame. You don't sulk. You don't withhold affection or withdraw or get butthurt. You show up as a man who is emotionally steady. He's kind and compassionate with courage and no agenda. One way to do this is to be able to be affectionate without expectation. Can you give her a hug without expecting sex? And you're able to lead yourself even when you do feel lonely, because sometimes you got to walk through that to get to the other side. But then your energy says, honey, I still desire you, but I'm not collapsing without you. I'm full enough to give without needing something back immediately. And you can tell yourself, hey, I feel safe. And from that, you're able to communicate to your wife, you are safe here. No pressure, just love. And over time, that energy starts to melt the ice. And no, it's not going to happen overnight, but over time, steadily, because no woman opens in the presence of pressure, but many will open in the presence of peace. When you become a man who invites connection and not demands it, when you stop trying to get something from her and you start bringing something to her, you bring your presence, you bring your calmness, you bring your emotional safety and consistency and truth. And all of that allows you to still express your desire, but you can do it without desperation. And with calm and courage, you can tell her, babe, I miss the closeness between us. Not because I'm empty, but because I love what we've shared. And I want to rebuild that with patience and strength. There's nothing guilty about that. There's nothing manipulative about that. That's honest. That's authentic. That's truthful. That's love. That's not pressure. That's leadership. That's the secure husband. That's the man that she can feel again. That's the man she's wanted all along. That's the man she thought she was getting when she married you. Because guilt isn't intimacy. It's not connection. It's not leadership. It's manipulation. If you've been trying to guilt your wife into sex, look, it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you evil. You've been hurting. It just means that you've been trying to soothe the wound the wrong way. And that's why I started this podcast. Because I didn't know back then what I know now, but I was able to work through it once I knew the truth. Once I finally realized that I didn't have to beg to be loved and that I didn't need to shame and guilt to be touched. When I finally realized that I don't need to pressure her to be seen, then I was able to become a man who could hold space for my emotions without losing myself. And from there, I was able to lead from peace. It took a while to do this. This journey is not a quick fix. But when you can become the secure husband, just watch what starts to return. I hope this podcast has been helpful for you. If so, please leave me a review, hit that subscribe button for more Secure Husband episodes. Share this episode with someone who you think may need to hear this. Visit securehusband.com for more resources and to book one-on-one coaching with me. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Thanks for listening.